Good morning and welcome to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook and the New Mexico Sports Network. I'm Ed Nunez along with our producer Alden Iwani, our special guest today, Bernalillo football coach John Cobos. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate being here.
Coach, Bernalillo, when you talk about Bernalillo, you're actually you teach in mid school over there at the old Spartan, where the Spartan Alley is, right? Where Spartan
Yes,
Alley is.
sir.
And I had to mention this because back in the day, my older brother played for St. Pius when the great Henry Sanchez roamed the sidelines, right? One of the greatest New Mexico coaches there ever was in high school basketball. He also coached at Las Vegas Robertson and was the mayor of Las Vegas. And my understanding was did things for people that people will never forget as the mayor. He's a great basketball coach, but he's also a great mayor of Las Vegas. But I still remember the late, great Ken Wood, the PA announcer, when I'd be there at the games. Here it come, the run and gun Bernalillo Spartans. I still never forgot that. And that place would go nuts, man. And so you're teaching there, and I had to bring up that history because it's an amazing part of Bernalillo.
Well, every day I have the opportunity to walk inside that gymnasium, and people will say, as a football coach, maybe you don't understand, the history or the importance of Bernalillo basketball, and really I do. I walk in there, Coach Terry Darnell, great friend of mine, and actually brought me to Bernalillo. So we've had many discussions while I've been inside that gym and talk about the different history. And I asked why there was so much room on one side of my gymnasium now. And he tells me there was more bleachers there and how they used to pack it back in the day and the different, Mike Romero and the different, great players that have come out of Bernalillo. So I'm very honored to be able to call that my classroom and go to work there every single day.
And Mike Romero, one of the greatest basketball players in the state of New Mexico history, no question. But let's get to Bernalillo football. Your team is 4-3 this season, and I'll tell you, we're going to go into a little bit of your past. You coached at Highlands, and I'll tell you, Bernalillo basketball always took the high, the high ground there, right? Now Bernalillo football sometimes was forgotten, but I'll tell you, you've done a great job in building that program. There, you've had 3 tough losses in a row, but they're one possession games, right? And we'll get to maybe how the Spartans can finish a little bit better as the season winds down, because you started the season off very strong. There's no doubt about it. You've got a very strong offense. It amazed me how many tackles for losses that some of your players have on defense. Wow. You've got a great defensive unit. There's no question. But talk a little bit about how it was for you to you mentioned the story to me yesterday, and I kind of want you to tell the listeners how you even got to be the football coach at Bernalillo High School. Terry Darnell comes into the bank you're working, and you pick it up from there, Coach.
Yeah, seems like just yesterday, but I mentioned Terry Darnell being a great friend of mine, and when I first finished playing for New Mexico Highlands, I coached my first 3 years at West Las Vegas, and then I got out of the profession for 10 years and got into corporate America and doing things of that. And while I was outside of corporate America, Terry reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I'd like for you to come and check out the football program here at Bernalillo High School." And little did I know that 14 years later I'd still be here, much less be the head coach. But he's always had this great confidence in me. He's always had this great belief in me. That I would maybe be that one person to kind of get things started again here. Coach Ken Noel was here before me and did a fantastic job of resurrecting Spartan football. And then we went through some period of time where we were down again. And we're trying to get that back and trying to be a contender in 4A and trying to be relevant, as I told you yesterday, Ed. And it's not easy. As you know, we talked about the different dynamics, here at Bernalillo and the things that we have to face. But we have great kids. We have great kids here, and they believe in what we're doing, and they believe in our program. They believe what we're about. They understand, that we care about them on and off the field. We express academics and how important that is. We try to tell them all the time, we didn't get to just be coaching football because we were good at football once upon a time. We had to go to school and get education and be able to, give back to the kids that we have now. So 14 years later, I'm still here. I'm now the head coach, and I'm very happy to be leading the Spartan football program these days.
Now, you in 2015, first year you were 0-10, 2016 1-9, 2017 3-7 improvement, 2018 6-4, lost to Levenson first round, 2019 6-4, lost to Aztec in the first round. Last year in the COVID season, 4-0, beat number 1 Grants in the bowl game, and this year you started out 4-0. Tough losses to Moriarty, Taos, and Albuquerque Academy. So talk a little bit about the building. Now, when Coach Darnell, who I love to death, right? I told you as a basketball official and officiated Coach Darnell's games, I love Coach Darnell. I mean, the guy's dynamic. He hates to lose at anything, man. Anything. I don't care what it is. I've known him for very many years. I have all the respect in the world for him. What was it he said to you about what he wanted you to do as far as rebuilding the Bernalillo program? What did he say to you? What did he say resources would be accessible to you? What was his message to you when he talked to you, to talk you out of corporate America to coming back to coaching football? What did he say to you?
Well, as you know about Coach Darnell, what you just said, doesn't like to lose, and that goes in all of our athletics. And he wanted us to be relevant in all sports, and still does to this day. Now that he's our deputy superintendent, and he has now handed off the RAD roles to me. And you both know Manuel Montano, who we call Manny Mammal, or Coach Montano, still to this day. And those guys, they're Bernalillo born, they're Bernalillo raised, and they want what's best for our Bernalillo student athletes. And they support me in every little thing that it is that I ask or try to do with this program. They're mentors to me, both Coach Darnell and Coach Montano, and they let me know what I'm doing right. They help me, but what I'm doing wrong is not so much about, hey, this and that and whatnot. But Coach Darnell, when he told me he wanted football to be relevant, and if people have this thing about Terry that he was only about basketball, and it never was true. It never was true, right? He wanted to see the football program, along with all the other athletic programs, get off the ground, and I can never repay him for the trust that he put inside me to resurrect this program. And again, as you know, Ed, it's not one person, right? It's something that's been built. I have a great foundation of assistant coaches who have been with me, who have stood by my side and work hard. It's never the most glorious job whenever you're 0-10 and 1-9 and 3-7, and you bring back those great memories for me, okay, during those seasons. But I've been a winner my whole life. I won when I played football for Roswell High. We won when I played for New Mexico Highlands under Coach Jim Ewing and Carl Farrell when he was there. We won when we were at West Las Vegas, and I coached there under Coach Joaquin Garcia and Ray Pino. And we won when I got here under Ken Noel. I wanted to win. I wanted to be the guy that was running the program, and I wanted to be a winner. And I think that's what keeps me up at night and motivates me and keeps on grinding for these kids, because they want to win as well.
And again, you mentioned the kids from around Berlin. Let's talk a little bit about that and bringing some of those kids that maybe didn't come out for football before, right? Maybe there's that kid on the fringe that said, I don't know about football. I don't want to come out. How did you get them to take that chance, step in, take a step on the field? How did you convince them to maybe some kids that I'm sure you weren't reached before are all of a sudden playing now? And what was your message to them? How did you get them to come out?
I really do think it's them believing in what we're selling to them as far as what the program has, right? And our motto is one team, one family, one unit, right? That is our base foundation motto. And we talk to the kids about, we don't just care about what you do out on the football field. We care about what you do in the classroom. We care about how you represent the community of Bernalillo, how you represent your community. We have kids from Santo Domingo, from San Felipe, from Cochiti, from Zia, from Jemez, right? Sandia. We got all these different various communities, wonderful communities, right? And we talk about them representing their community in the right way. And that those family members that come out and watch them on Friday nights, how proud they are to see them out there on that football field and doing what they're doing. And I really just believe it's the buy-in. It really is the buy-in. The kids know that we're for real. If we say we're going to go sit in your class because you're messing around and you're not getting something done, they're going to see a coach, if not myself, go and sit in English class. And it's kind of one of those things, just holding up your end of it. If you're going to say something, you need to deliver. High school kids want to see you deliver because it's about them. It's not about us. What can you do for them? And they want to see that. And once they genuinely know that you care about them, they'll run through a brick wall for you.
What kind of village is that? Because you mentioned Manny Montano, who I love to death. Gosh, you got some great mentors, right? You got Tim McCorkle, who I've known for many years. All the respect in the world for Coach McCorkle, as I know he's your principal out there. But you've got some great people in that system, right? So it takes a village, they said. So when you mention those guys, you mentioned Manuel Montano, Tim McCorkle, Terry Darnell. There's more. Your assistant coaches, Esteban Macias, Gabe Montoya, Jaden Sanchez, Graydon Larson, Alex Sanchez Lopez, Abraham Loretto. Matthew Loretto. They all deserve some credit too, right? Because it takes more than you just mentioned. But it's a feel-good thing when you're having some success in rebuilding that program, and the kids know that you care about them personally. That's huge to me. I coached too. I played, and to me, you can't fool kids. They know who's sincere, and they know who isn't. That's why I love kids so much.
Yeah, you mentioned those great names, and those names on the bottom there. I think are the end of our Max Preps roster, just to let you know. But my assistant coaches are Jermaine Mark Christensen, my defensive coordinator, Michael Royce, my offensive coordinator, Christopher Johnson, assistant coach, Blake Miller, O-line, D-line coach, Barry Calloway, Rob Robinson, and Jose Scott. Those guys, I handpicked them. They follow me. They believe in my message, and they're a direct reflection of what I do. And there's other people out there. We had talked about good friend of mine, Philip Lovato. He's the head coach at Highland.
Oh, yeah.
We really branch off a whole bunch, and he's been a great mentor to me. And to be able to talk football and get with them. Greg Hennington out at Las Lunas, he's just a phenomenal coach, phenomenal human being, on the stuff that he does. Rod Williams at Cibola, right? I get to watch him, and he's in my backyard. I live up in that area, and I get to see the things that he's doing, and watch these Highlands faithfuls, kind of doing their thing. So Mr. McCorkle, yes, man, great mentor, Manuel Montano, Terry Darnell, our board president, Paul Madrid, just a wealth of knowledge here, with Bernalillo and helping me to try to be successful and make Spartan football relevant. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make us relevant in 4A.
You've certainly done a good job of that. One question before we go to break, Coach. You also played for Coach Jim Bradley at Roswell. And, Jim Bradley, we talked about this last night. He let the North know, hey, the South does it like this. You don't. I still remember back in the day. What was it you took from playing for Coach Bradley? Briefly before we go to break, tell us what you took from him.
We had a wonderful staff. Like Coach Jim Bradley was there. I'm a proud Coyote, alum. But whatever the mind believes, the body will achieve. Those are things that Coach Bradley used to tell us all the time. I've stole WIT from him, which means whatever it takes. I've transitioned that here into my program. But he was a great motivator. To get us to, try to play to our full potential. And why Coach Bradley, the 10 years he was in Roswell, we were successful. And I'll never forget, what the mind believes the body will achieve.
Oh, yeah, Coach Bradley, what an incredible mentor and mentors you've had for sure. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about this year's version of the Bernalillo Spartans when we come back on the Sports Desk after these messages.
A 49-yard gain by the punter. Fuentes being harassed in the backfield. He uses his feet. He's going to launch that one up and caught. Beautiful catch coming from Roybal. Roybal down at the 45.
Running. And Vigil trucking, running, touchdown! Zach Vigil just showing the power.
Nice steal away coming for Caden Giron. Giron finds a man all alone on the inside. No easy shot until it is. And Hope strikes back here.
Play action pass. Sapien rolls out under pressure. He hits his receiver. He's going through. He's going to make it. Touchdown.
Same motion. It's going to be a reversal to McIntosh. McIntosh will launch this one up, and that is going to be a first down and more. Streaking down the sideline there is Tyler Wilson. And that's a new one.
They do. They stick to their will, and they're trying to overpower you. They're trying to enforce their will.
On 3rd and 3, look, they're listening to you. It's Solis going down the field, open man.
That's a catch. Outstanding.
And he
What an
makes the catch.
outstanding catch.
ready to snap the ball. Pretty drops back. He hits V-Hill behind. It's a lateral, wide open. V-Hill hits him for the touchdown. Hello, Gage Victor with the touchdown from Zach V-Hill with a little trickery, a little chicanery, and all of a sudden Rio Rancho is up 20-0.
Gerardo, the quarterback option, throws across the middle, and he's got a receiver wide open. Valdez could be gone at the second play of the game. No one will catch Caden Valdez. Valdez is gone at the second play of the game to the house.
Trying to set it up for Lewandowski as Ava Suarez is running down that. This one being centered. Babinski again, there's a hat trick.
This time
there's a handoff.
To Damian.
Damian kicks it to the outside.
And he's going to give it to Damian.
Wow.
And there's another touchdown.
On quarterback there, handoff to Damian, taking it right up the middle, kicks it to the outside. There's Damian. He just walked it in again.
Took it in from 4 yards out, and there it is. They're going to actually give it to
right
Damian. And he's going to take it up the middle.
Right
touchdown. And this time it's handed off to Damian again. He's going to go right up the middle, and he's getting some daylight.
He's gone.
And it looks like he's going to be gone. Damian with his 6th touchdown. It's going to be a rush for Damian right up the middle.
He's gone.
And it looks like he's going to be gone. That's going to be an 80-yard touchdown. 80 yards to the house. Damian Gallegos. Let's see. You called it right up the middle. And Damian is going to take that ball 70 yards for a touchdown, Coach.
There it is, right up the gut.
70 yards.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, streamed on Facebook, also on the New Mexico Sports Network. I'm your host, Ed Nunez, along with Bernalillo football coach John Cobos. Coach, thanks again so much for joining us. You know, we talked about a lot of things in the first hour, but I got a quote from somebody that knows you well. Coach Cobos has done a great job rebuilding the football program at Bernalillo High School. He's exciting, dynamic, motivational, and cares for his players, and that's from your principal, Tim McCorkle, the first African-American principal in Albuquerque, also the first African-American baseball coach, coached in many places, West Mesa, Highland, all the respect in the world for Coach McCorkle, and he has all the respect in the world for you.
Wow, that's flattering. Mr. McCorkle's been so good to me since he's come to Bernalillo. He's, showed me a whole lot of support, knows my family members that attended Albuquerque High in West Mesa, as I do have a branch of my mom's family in Albuquerque, the Pacheco family, and he knows a lot of my cousins. So whenever he got here, it was a small world once we got to talking, and we built that relationship. And after that, it was smooth sailing. Me and Coach McCorkle right on the same page. Anything he asks of me, I make sure and get it done.
He actually coached baseball at Highland when I was a student there. So, he's just a few years older than me, but great guy. Just really respect the heck out of him. We talked about accountability. Tell us a little bit about accountability. You mentioned this to me during the break. about how you keep your players accountable with grades and things that they know. In other words, there's going to be a checkup, man. Tell us a little bit about that. I thought it was important because there has to be I've always been a big accountability guy. How do we do it? How do we do it better? What do we do the next time? So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, in the Spartan football program, one of the big things we talk about is respect, right? It's a mutual thing, right? Two-way street, and we understand that. We tell the players, we're going to give you guys respect, but we expect respect in return. So one of the things, that goes down the same line is, they're student athletes, right? So it's their responsibility to make sure that they maintain their grades. For our program, we try to make sure our students maintain a 3.0. It's not always the easiest of things, but we let them know that they're student athletes. So their number one priority is being a student, followed by being an athlete. It's an ongoing thing, as we know with our youth. It's nothing that's easy. We always have students that need our assistance. But I check grades every Wednesday, and I'll post it up on my board. I'm here in my office now, and I have a whiteboard behind me that I post grades on. And there's the good list, and then we don't say the bad list. We say the not so good list is what we put it, right? It's a work in progress. Kids that need some kind of motivation. Back in my day, one of the main motivating things our coaches used to do is make us run, right? Running for everything. So on that Wednesday, I do grade checks. I give the not so good list to my coordinators, and they have a little bit of extra running, a little bit of extra motivation on Wednesday to try to get them to understand the importance of trying to get their grades up before the next grade check.
I think that's a great thing because they know that's coming. It's not a secret, and it's in the back of their mind. It has to be. I want to go over this year's version of your team, Coach. Started out 50-point in Gallup, 50-0. 50-point at Espanola Valley, 54-0. Over Los Alamos, 35-0. Over Shiprock, 67-0. Here's where it gets a little bit. One possession game, lose to Moriarty 7-6. One possession game, lose to Taos 14-7, and then Friday night or Saturday night, lost to the Albuquerque Academy 14-7. You've got Pius coming up, and that back in the day with basketball, my God, that used to be a big rivalry. This one's going to be a big one coming up. Now, talk to us a little bit about how you feel the team is, where they're at, because they started out good. Now, sometimes one possession games come down to a lot of things. Talk to us a little bit about where you feel the Spartans are.
Well, one of the biggest things is we knew when we got to this 4-game stretch with Moriarty, Taos, Albuquerque Academy, and Pius, we knew it was going to tell us a lot about our team. What a lot of people don't understand about this year's Spartans is we're young. We're super young. We've got about 5 seniors. We're loaded, sophomore, junior heavy. We got about 8 freshmen that are playing for us. We lost 17 seniors last year. That special season that we had, we knew that season was going to be special for us. So, the kids responded really well early on. We were, didn't really know what we were going to get when we went to Gallup. A couple of years before that, we went up there thinking it was going to be a good game for us, and we lost. So it was really trying to see how a lot of these kids who were first-year starters were going to respond, and they responded well. Now, when you get into teams like Moriarty, Coach Romero, and Coach Abreu up there in Taos, Coach Garris at Albuquerque Academy, followed by Coach Montoya at St. Pius, very well-coached teams. They understand what we do. We haven't changed what we're doing. We're very familiar as far as district opponents with what's going to happen. Coach Montoya is going to have his group, ready for us, and we understand that. Preparation is everything, and teaching these kids that they got to continue to fight. One of the greatest compliments if you take anything out of losing, and we all don't want to lose, we know that. But Coach Abreu, Coach Romero, Coach Garris all told me, your kids don't quit. They play to the end. They're fighting. And that's something that you want because winning has to be taught as well. It's not just something that you know overnight on how to do. And a lot of these kids, minus Tristan Ludi Herrera, minus Kevin Chavez, minus Michael Ash, that were starters for us last year. A lot of these kids are first-year starters, Ed, and they're getting their time in, and we're trying to get that signature win. We're trying to, but we are relevant, and we are taking teams to the wire, and teams know they have to prepare for us.
No question about it. I want to go through some stats real quick. Your quarterback, Jacob Pino, 54, 105 for 1,025 yards. David Yanis, 42 carries, 276 yards. As a team, 91 carries, 531 yards, 5.8 yards per carry. Tristan Ludi Herrera on the offensive side, 28 catches, 706 yards, 25.2 average per catch, 100.9 yards per game. He's averaging as a wide receiver. I thought that was amazing. Your defense, Tristan Ludi Herrera, 3 interceptions, 40 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss. Javen Mays McChristian, 30 total tackles, 9.0 tackles for loss. Your team as a total, 97 tackles for loss on the season. That's those. I wanted to ask you about that because that's a lot. That's a lot. That's somebody shooting a gap. That's somebody an unaccounted blitzer. That's something the offense has to prepare for. Talk a little bit about that defense. Again, your team has 9 interceptions, I believe. And so you've taken away the ball. You've taken away the ball. There's no question about it. Talk a little bit about that defense, which I think the stats speak for themselves. 27 sacks. 13 interceptions.
Well, my defense and my D coordinator is going to appreciate this, but Goon Squad, that's what they yell. That's what they're about. It's the Goon Squad. It's swarming defense. Coach Jermaine McChristian, my defensive coordinator, amazing guy. He's another alpha male that's on my coaching staff. We resemble our coaching styles are a lot alike. He gets after it. He's animated. He has those kids believing, and they swarm to the football. We understand that. We understand that we have to swarm to the football, and the kids are excited about playing defense and take pride in it. They wear their stuff, Goon Squad, on a lot of their apparel that we have for them and whatnot. But we scout well. We have great assistant coaches. Man, I can't give my assistant coaches, just enough credit for everything that they do, and they don't get a lot of exposure. I try to give them, as much as I can. But Blake Miller, our D-line coach, and Coach Mac McChristian, who I'm talking about, is our inside linebacker coach, along with Coach Barry Calloway, outside linebacker coach. Those guys, do a great job of preparing our defense and just getting them to understand what the opposing offense is going to do to us.
Well, you mentioned Coach McChristian. It must be his son, Javen Mays McChristian.
Yes, sir. That is his son.
30 total tackles, 9 tackles for loss as a middle linebacker. Caven Chavez, 72 total tackles, 12 tackles per game, 18 tackles per loss. Your middle linebacker, Jaquan Romeo Amatis, 42 total tackles, 7.5 per game, 15 tackles per loss. And Michael Ash, you mentioned the defensive lineman, 41 total tackles, 16 total tackles for loss. So this defensive unit this week, St. Pius, we know that they've got Sapien, they've got Koesh. Now, without revealing your game plan, I'm not asking that. Marco Ibarra, this guy's a beast, man. I mean, that guy he can run around the corner, and he can run between tackles. And he was also the middle linebacker on defense. He's a great part of Coach Dave Montoya's team over there. How do you plan to? What's your game? Some of your game plan? We're not asking for the whole thing, but they've got other weapons. Koas, the receiver. The other guy, I can't remember. Got real quick. Sapien, the quarterback. They've got some weapons. How do you plan to prepare for that?
Well, it's always a fun time when you're playing St. Pius and Coach Montoya. First couple of years we're in the district, it wasn't a pretty game. They handled us pretty well, and something that didn't sit well with us, here in Bernalillo, and we continuously, strive to get better. And we know Ibarra, we know about him. We know he's a stud. He deserves all the recognition that he's getting, and he's a handful. And we know that we're gonna have to prepare for him, along with Sapien and the rest of what Coach Montoya's got coming to us. Coach Montoya, a great guy. A lot of respect for him as the head coach there in St. Pius. He's always doing what's best for kids, and I can respect that a whole bunch. There's a lot of history, as you know, between St. Pius and Bernalillo. We got a lot of Bernalillo kids that are within our community that go to school at St. Pius. So a lot of the kids from our team and Coach Montoya's team know each other, and it brings that extra little bit of rivalry, to the game. Last year we played them, and it was the first time ever in Spartan varsity history that we beat them, and it was a tough game. 14-7 here at Bernalillo. It was a hard fought game, and that's what we expect again Friday night. They're going to come in. They're a well coached team, like I told you, and we're going to be prepared, and we're going to give them all we can. That's what I can say.
Bernalillo football coach John Cobos. You also finished against Valencia and then Grants. It's been a quick season. We definitely wish you the best of luck on Friday night against St. Pius, and we thank you for joining us today on the Sports Desk.
Appreciate you, Ed. Thank you, guys, and thank you, ProView, for having us on. We appreciate it.
You bet. Good luck on Friday night. For producer Alden Iwani, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next week on the sports desk.